Theater is a unique and it's just a unique experience because it unfolds in front of you. It's right there. We have gotten so used to even this format, which is applicable and useful to do this on Zoom, to get people who are far away to be able to talk like we do. But we've gotten so used to phones and Zoom and video and Netflix and, and it's all at a distance. And particularly even, I mean, especially with what's happened to us over the last 3 years since COVID, everything was at a distance, everything was remote, everything was contactless, like contact free was like a selling point, which I was mortified by. I was like, why? I want contact. I don't want contact free. I want contact. And with theater, it's right there in front of you. And in a way, the more intimate the theater, the more in front of you it's happening. And there's no substitute. There's no CGI. There's no games being played in terms of reality. It's either there and believable in front of you or it isn't. And there's something so immediate about that for the audience, I think, whether they know it or not. The fact that it's right there gives a sense of excitement that may not occur even if you're seeing Top Gun 2, which was a terrific movie, taking nothing away from what they did, and the excitement of an experience like that. But theater is its own excitement because there's no CGI. It's right there. They can't lie to you. They got to be honest, or they have to try to be honest, and then you see bad theater, and the feeling is that no one's being honest, either with the point of view of the writing or with the acting, and there's that immediacy that kind of gives it pass fail right away. And I think for the actors as well, when they're working in film and TV, the scenes are shorter. I tell the students at the school, because we do a fair amount of training on theater, and I say it's because the scenes are thicker. There's more going on per scene. Like an average movie can burn 40, 50, 60 scenes to tell a story, including guy gets into car, starts car, and drives off. It just moves the plot that much. In a play, you can't do that. In a play, a scene has to be there because it's been sweated over, thought about. There's something has to happen. And if something doesn't happen and everyone is up to their game, that scene is cut in the development process. Like, nothing's happening here. Why is this here? We don't have the time. We've got 4 scenes, 6 scenes, 8 scenes to tell a story in 90 minutes, 2 hours, whatever. So these are rough numbers, but I'm just saying more per scene happens in a play just by the math. And hence the actor gets to go on more of a ride per scene. And that immediacy of there's no cut, man. No one's going to yell cut. Like, you have to make your way through it. And ideally you're well enough prepared that is not a challenge, but things happen, props go missing, someone forgets a line, something happens in the audience, you get distracted, and you have to surmount and continue through those moments and continue to tell the story. You can't crash the play. And there's something exciting about that. And the director is behind in the back getting drunk with the playwright, or across the street at the bar, because once that curtain opens, you got no control, director and playwright. The actors are really either doing it or they aren't. So it's I think most actors would tell you there's no substitute for the excitement of live theater. There may be a substitute for the paycheck, without question. But there's no substitute for the excitement. Crimson Square is basically the current iteration of a Beverly Hills Playhouse theater company. So Beverly Hills Playhouse is actually an acting school. That is the economic engine for that place. And always has been since 1972 or 8, or whenever Milton took it over and took over that name and formed a school. It is a teaching institution, private, monthly, ongoing acting classes, writing, and it's actors, writers, and directors participating in scene study, old school training. That's the Beverly Hills Playhouse. That's what we represent. Throughout the years, we've always had a production wing, a production entity that was not the Beverly Hills Playhouse. And sometimes that production entity was official 501c3 legit thing with its own board. Sometimes it was a more improvised in-house thing. For many years between 2012 and 18, I did something that we called Project X, which was I couldn't get the rights to some of the really good plays I wanted to direct. So we would do it in-house under our educational umbrella We would work on the full play, full staging, full commitment, and we'd present it basically in class settings plus guests if they wanted to, in an educational format for 10 performances over 1 week. Like boom, 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 boom. But obviously we didn't have the, I didn't name the play. We didn't have programs. We didn't have tickets. We didn't have reviews. We didn't have promotion. We didn't have money. We didn't have anything because it couldn't violate any of those agreements. And we called it Project X. We wouldn't tell you what you were going to come see. It was just like, we're doing Project X and it's going to be in this week in March. And people were blown away by that concept. Crimson Square is the latest version of all that stuff, and it's a more legit production wing. It started probably in 2018, 19 with a couple productions that we did then, I Am My Own Wife and Dinner with Friends. And then the pandemic obviously was a nightmare, and we came back, and our first production was Sex with Strangers. And we've now done, I think Outrage is probably the 6th, 7th, 8th play we've done since the pandemic. And it's just the entity under which, like, if it's the Beverly Hills Playhouse Presents, people will think, oh, an acting school is doing a theater production. Oh, that's cute, students. And it's not just students. These are highly professional people. So we've always needed an entity under which we could kind of brand and present the work. Crimson Square is that entity right now, heavily connected to the Playhouse, motivated by what we see coming out of the classes, what play, or my work as a writer, or so-and-so's work as a director. So we have very talented directors. They might come to me and say, I want to direct XYZ play. And I'll be like, okay, do we have the horses for that race? Yes. Let's do a reading. Yeah, you're right. Those actors can really do it. What's our budget? How much are we willing to lose on this? Because if you're doing theater, you're losing money. And so that's what Crimson Square is right now, is the entity under which the Playhouse channels the work, the best work every year into legit productions that we feel the public should come and see and be reviewed and pay for. Like, when we think it's good enough to pay for, that says something. And so that it's that entity. So the Playhouse and the Crimson Square are like this, and it's just basically our production entity. Crimson Square is not yet 501c3, and so we're contemplating that. It's not that hard to go get it, but when you do, you need a board, you need separate tax returns, you need lawyers, you need this, you need that, and so we're like looking at that and going, most 501c3 theater companies in LA, like if you look at Fountain or Rogue Machine or Skylight or, so many of them, they've been around for decades, years and years and years and years. They're run by highly experienced people in their 50s and their 60s who dedicated themselves to years and years and years worth of fundraising and this and that. And they don't run schools. They just produce theater. Well, the Beverly Hills Playhouse is a school. That's our main activity. The theater we do is a little bit more ad hoc. We don't have a season. We're very responsive to the moment. Did I write a play? Do I want to do it? Yes. Well, it's my theater. We're going to do it. Did someone come up to me with a play that I have always loved that has never been done? Well, maybe we'll do that. Let's do a reading. Let's see. When does it open? We have a rental here in March. Let's do it in April. It's that kind of thing. It's very on its feet, bouncing, alive. Like, let's go. Let's take this opportunity. Let's do this one-person show. Let's do something upstairs. Let's do something here. And to be nimble and quick is not always easy for a nonprofit. And so, yes, you can donate. You just have to know that you're donating to what is currently a for-profit entity. I got to be completely honest about that. You will help us do more theater for sure. It's put over there kind of in its own box in terms of that, which is dedicated for theater producing expenses. And we're very good about that, but it's not technically a tax deductible donation, which is what most people think. And we're contemplating whether to go that direction or to stay nimble and quick. If you want to stay nimble and quick, you got to stay somewhat autocratic, which means it's me, my decision-making, my willingness to lose money. But it doesn't suffer from quality. It just makes us a little bit more nimble and quick. And it's an ongoing, we always have this discussion. What form should the theater take? Project X was something that we did for 6 years. Never took any credit for anything, really. There was never a poster that had a name of a play on. We did this mysterious sort of like club membership, be on the list, get an invitation, come see us do a play. We'll talk about it afterwards. It's all free. And that was a great concept. We did like 10 productions under that banner. So it changes over time. Right now it's Crimson Square. which is essentially the Playhouse entity. Should it become 501c3 with its own board and its own tax returns and its own lawyers and its own this and a thing and a that? And yeah, that could be really good, but it also could slow us down to be in terms of being responsive. So that's the ongoing dialogue there. Well, live theater needs support everywhere, not just in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, even the well-to-do theater companies are having trouble post-COVID. I mean, the Center Theater Group, one of the leading theater companies in the country, is shut down. They're not producing. There is no 23-24 season. I don't know if there's going to be a 24-25 season. They're broke. This is a major institution. It's been around for decades. So then take those issues and take it to a small theater where they're like trying to pay their power bill. And if the air conditioning goes out, everyone wants to cry because how are we going to pay for it? Air conditioning repairs are expensive. So it's that kind of thing. So supporting live theater, it's absolutely mandatory. The way I come at it, it's like, it's mandatory. You must do it, because what do you want to do? Sit back and watch Netflix the rest of your life? Sometimes you got to get out there. A friend of ours who lives on the Hill, and she's got, single mom of a special needs daughter. I mean, super intense personal life. And we took her to the theater last night, and she loved it. She loved it. She hadn't been even up to LA in some number of years because her life is so demanding. And she was so excited to be in the theater, to talk about it. She was just like lit up, like very, and I'm just going, that's the magic of it. That's why you support it. And so whether it's Crimson Square, which is at the Beverly Hills Playhouse, that's our wing, or whether it's Rogue Machine or Fountain or Skylight, or there are so many of them around town, and so many got wiped out, and so many lost their theater space. I mean, there's a company called the Versus Theater Company that I know well, and they had a great little theater on Pico, and someone bought it, and they're turning it into like God knows what. Kicked everyone out. All these small businesses, including a wonderful small theater, boom, see you later. And that's what's going on in the world. And if you don't want it to go extinct, you just don't. There's something magic about live theater, and it doesn't cost a lot to support it. If enough people were willing to shell out $100 a year over a bunch of different institutions, even in their local community, man, that can make such a huge difference. Much less someone who has got like a really thick wallet from selling a company or being involved in that which capitalism rewards these days. One thing that was disappointing to me about watching the thing in COVID, I was like, where are the freaking billionaires? Like, I just didn't like, where's a billionaire who loves orchestra music, classical music, and who comes out and says, I'm writing a check for every small orchestra in the country. Here's my check. It's the Joe Acme Company check to support live orchestras throughout the country, $100,000 to 20 different orchestras. And for people like that, that's like small change. That's like their landscaping budget for one of their houses. I was really disappointed in the lack of what my teacher used to call give. Give as a noun. The lack of give. And we need it, man. We need it. It's not easy to run small theaters. I know. I run the infrastructure down at the Beverly Hills Playhouse. It's almost 100 years old. It is no joke. Keep that place spick and span and clean, and I'm serious about it. I want the doors to open a certain way. I'm very sort of anal about everything should feel like quality goods, but it's expensive to do that, and people need the help. People need the help, particularly after COVID. Most small business, whether it's in the theater or theater and non-theater, most small business, I've talked to a lot of people. They lost 50%. They never came back to past 50% of what it was before COVID. And sometimes that 50% difference is all the profit. That's all the profit. So now they're operating break even. And through no fault of their own, through this stupid thing that happened. And so give to your local theater company. Pick ones that you like and give to it. For profit, not for profit, help out. Here's a thing. Here's a gift certificate. Here's some cash. Here's a check. Anything. It helps. Theater acts as a theater that attracts attention and attracts audience on certain nights, attracts business to the restaurant. I was there for my own play on Saturday night, and I had invited a friend of mine who was coming, and we hadn't seen each other since pre-pandemic. So we were having dinner at a place up the street on Robertson near Wilshire. And the place was packed. The restaurant was mobbed. And I was sort of thinking to myself, oh man, I hope the kitchen is on the ball, because we're here at 6, but we got to be walking out of here at 7:40. And we just barely made it. And then as I turned around and looked behind me, the entire restaurant was walking out. They were all coming to the theater. It turns out a bunch of people were coming to the show that night, and they all arranged to go to the same restaurant. They didn't know that the Playwright was sitting in the corner eating there too. So that restaurant had an amazing night. And I walked in, I said, I've never seen this place this crowded. So it, like any sort of magnet in the community in terms of business, that magnet attracts business for everyone else around it. The coffee shops, the restaurants. People make plans to do other things in the neighborhood. And so that that $100 spent at the theater that night also propagates out, because it's $100 for the theater, but the same people went to the restaurant before the show and they spent $100 there. And for those who can afford to do that, I understand times are tough, but the theater becomes an economic engine for the community that it resides in. And so that's part of why they're important. We keep on letting people, if we keep on letting small business go under, theaters and otherwise, because we can watch it at home. We can order it at home. We can order the food. We can order the products. We can watch our entertainment without ever leaving our couch. I think it's a huge blow to the culture. Huge blow to the culture. I understand that people are making a lot of money off of that model, but it doesn't take a lot of money. It takes a fraction of the money that is being made on that model to support some of what still exists, brick and mortar, for small business and for small theaters.